Hey, Mama. So I met with a client, I think it was last week, and we were chatting about just kind of like the feeling of overwhelm when you first get started on your personal growth journey. It can feel like a lot coming at you. There's just so much information out there. And she asked me a question that I was like, ooh, that's an awesome question. I just had to, I had to elaborate on it. I did a whole podcast about it. And now I'm here doing a video about it because I think it is just such an important question. And the question she asked me was, what do you wish you had started doing earlier? Whoa. Um, so many things. Like my mind started spinning off in a million different directions, and I had to focus myself. But at the end of the day, I think there are three things that I wish I had started doing earlier in my personal growth journey. I think if I had started doing them earlier, I would just be further along than I am right now. And that's like a cool thought that I could share something like that with my subscribers and they could, sort of accelerate their journey. And the ideas that I came up with, I feel like are pretty doable. Like they're not super overwhelming and they're just a great starting place. So I'm going to share with you what those three things are, and you can check out the blog post if you're interested in some more of the nitty gritty because I really get into all of the details there. But let's dive in. So the first thing that I wish I had started doing earlier was having a plan for my personal growth. Let me explain this one a little bit because I love plans, but I wish I had a plan for my personal growth. When I first got started, and this is sort of a learning curve too, but when I first got started, I just sort of threw myself into the personal growth pool and was learning everything from everybody. I wasn't really focused. I was, listening to podcasts on one topic and reading books on a different topic and following on Instagram somebody on a different topic. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I do think in the beginning too, you really need to do that for a little while to see what's out there and what resonates with you. But what I wish I had done, like literally years earlier, was been like, okay, this year, 2023, I'm going to focus on this. I think that would have helped me to not feel as overwhelmed. And also, I would have seen progress faster if I had focused on just one area. If I had to go back and pick an area, like I wish I had focused on my confidence first. I think it took a long time, like years, for my confidence to come. And if I had focused on that in my first year of personal growth, my personal growth journey, I think I would be so much further along than I am today. That's not to say, I'm on YouTube right now. I never thought that would be a thing. If you asked me 5 years ago, like never. So it's, it all works out, but I wish I had created more of like a plan to follow to sort of help my journey progress a little more strategically, if that makes sense. So again, if that resonates with you and you're like, oh, I'm just getting started, maybe focus on confidence, maybe focus on, your physical health, one specific area, and give yourself a ton of leeway for that. I talked in a recent episode, and I'll link that in the video description, about my goal notebook. And my goal notebook is how I'm tracking my personal growth areas this year. So if that resonated with you, the idea of having a plan, definitely go check that out because it's a great just kind of idea to play with. You also, if you're very interested in having a plan for your personal growth, you can check out my workshop. I will also include that in the video description below. But my workshop is called How to Create a Personal Growth Plan That Will Change Your Life in 60 minutes or less. So it is a video workshop that I have created with a workbook that comes with it that walks you through step by step my personal growth plan process that I follow every year. It also includes a personal growth plan that I created with one of my clients so that you could see, what different plans could look like. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check that out. All right, the second thing that I wish I had done earlier on my personal growth journey is I wish I had focused more on systems. So for years, in my personal growth journey, I was really focused on habits and the idea of like, okay, I need to, wake up early and that's a habit and whatever. And it would work for a little while, I would fall off. Same with workouts. It would work for a while, I'd fall off. Same with water, like drinking water. It would work for a little while, I'd fall off. And it wasn't until I read James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, and the idea of systems came into play that I was like, oh, Sharon, like, duh. it's not just the habit, it's the system. So instead of being like, all right, I need to, vacuum my house every week, that's a habit, right? I need to have a cleaning system where on Monday I do this, on Tuesday I do this, on Wednesday I do this, and I do it at a certain time and whatever. That worked like magic. I was like, oh wow, that was incredibly easy. Oh my goodness, why didn't you start doing this sooner? So in the blog post, I talk about a bunch of different systems that you can think about, but I wish I had focused more on systems than on habits. If I could go back in time, the system I would have created earlier would be my notebook system, also called my map book system, my make a plan book. I swear by my map book, and I know that my clients who have consistently implemented their notebook system, they love it too. It's a game changer. I really feel like every mom should at least know that this exists out there in the world. So my notebook system is what keeps me organized. I used to have just like panic attacks because I would be so overwhelmed with everything I had to do. And I tried every planner out there. I spent probably thousands of dollars on planners, digital, paper, whatever, and nothing worked. And one day I was in my classroom and I was like, you know what, forget this. I'm just using a notebook. And I went to my cabinet, I pulled out a lined composition notebook, and that was the beginning of my system, my notebook system. And I was like, I'm keeping everything in this notebook. I'm not deviating from this. There's gonna be no post-it notes around. Like, it's just all going in here. This is my Bible. This is what's getting me through my life. And that's how it started. And that system just makes me feel proactive. It makes me feel organized. And I swear by it. So that is definitely the system that I wish I had started sooner if I had to pick one. If you are interested in starting or even just checking out your own map book system, you can check out the link below in the video description. It will bring you to a free download that will help you set up your own map book. You can either do it in one sitting. It should take you less than an hour, definitely. Or you can sort of break it up day by day, and both options are provided for you in that download. So be sure to check it out. All right. The final thing that I wish I had started earlier was found a way to be more accountable for my growth. So let me explain that a little bit. It took years for me to consistently sort of like ask for help and ask for accountability in the personal growth area. I finally hired a coach to help me. Actually, in my business, in my photography business, I hired a coach, and I was like, whoa, my business like just skyrocketed after I started meeting with this coach. And I was like, wow, like imagine what this could do for my personal growth if I started being accountable to someone for it. So I started, I met with a group of women. We were like in a Facebook Messenger group, and it was awesome I think we almost went like a year and a half. We would check in every day with the habits that we were focusing on. And it was just awesome to have this accountability, and it was totally free. Like we were just checking in every day. I think 8:00 was our time that we would check in and just see how things were going, quick reflection, whatever, move on with our days. But it helps keep you accountable. And when you had that moment of like, oh, I'm not going to work out today, you're like, oh, but that other person's going to work out. And then I'm going to feel stupid being like, I was tired. So you get out of bed and you work out. It went great. We used it for waking up early, all kinds of things. So I wish I had done that earlier. I think it was really helpful. It helped keep me consistent. And that's what I needed to sort of strengthen that muscle of my systems. So having accountability and having a coach. Now I have a life coach and I have a therapist, separate people, that help me with all the things. I still have business coaches for both businesses. So asking for help, like that does take a little while, but I wish I'd done it sooner because I can't imagine how much further along I would be if I had done some of those things earlier. That being said, I'm grateful for where I am in my journey, but it is neat to think about what could be different if I had started some of these things early. So I'm curious, what do you wish you had started earlier on your own personal growth journey? Feel free to comment below. I'd be super curious to hear your answers. If you would like to hear or see more videos from me, feel free to subscribe using the red subscribe button below. And I would love it if you could like this video so that other busy moms like you and me could find this video. to help support one another. And that's it for today. So keep growing, Mama. Don't forget, little eyes are watching. Have a great day.